to Lafayette for Beta Club. And I don't know what I'll do for that, but the other days I forgot where we're going. Somewhere like Mississippi area. All right, we're going to take a little turn away from not graphing, we are graphing. But we started this chapter graphing two equations. Then we went to substitution, which y'all didn't really like. Then we did elimination, which I think y'all handled really well. So now, to finish this chapter, we have a few little graphing things left, and that's it, I think. Let me see. Yeah, we have a few days left of graphing. So today, we're only going to graph one equation at a time, all right, for today, and maybe Tuesday as well. We'll see. Now, on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, guess how many equations we'll graph together? 2. Okay? And we've already graphed equations, and I don't know why I'm saying equations. These are actually inequalities that we're going to graph today. We have actually learned all this that I'm about to go over. A little bit. We've kind of learned it. Okay. So the first type of question that you have today, it just wants to know, is this ordered pair a solution? So on this one, y'all, it's plug and play. You are going to plug in X and Y and see if it's a solution. Okay, so if I have 1 and 2, X and Y, okay, I'm going to plug them in and let's see if it works. So this is my Y value, so instead of saying Y is greater than, I'm going to put 2 is greater than. Are y'all good with that? And then instead of X minus 3, I'm going to put 1 minus 3. Okay, what is 1 minus 3? 2. But it's negative 2, right? So, is 2 bigger than negative 2? So, is it a solution? Yes, it is. All right, so these you just plug and play. All right, figure it out. Is that an answer? Does that work? 2 is greater than negative 2. Okay, let's try this one. So, instead of Y is greater than, I'll plug in negative 7 is greater than, and instead of X minus 3, I'm going to plug in negative 3 minus 3. What is negative 3 minus 3? Negative 6. So think about a number line. Is negative 7 bigger than negative 6? It's not. It's further away from 0, like to the negatives. So this one would be no, it's not a solution. This one, yes it is. Do y'all understand that today? Yes, we understand so far. Okay, let me see if I have another one of those, and then I may give y'all a couple to try. Let's see. All right, let's see. Let's do one. I'm going to do a couple of these. All right, let's look at this one right here, that Y is less than or equal to 2/3 X plus 4. I think y'all can kind of see that. So, is 3, 6 a solution? So that means I'm going to plug this in for Y. So 6 is less than or equal to 2/3 times X, which is what? 3. Plus 4. Y'all, if that looks scary to you, just type that in on your calculator, okay? Y'all have a calculator. Don't ask me what the answer is. You type it in when you have your worksheet, okay? If you don't know, 2/3 times 3 is 2, okay? So is 6 less than or equal to 6? Yes, it is. It's not less than 6, but what is it? It's equal, and it has the equal sign on there. So the answer is yes. Okay? What if it didn't have the equal sign on there? Pretend it didn't have that the whole way. Is 6 less than 6? No, it's not. It's equal to. So you have to read what it says. Does everybody understand the difference? So this answer would be no. This answer would actually be yes. Okay. Now, let's do another one where it's in a different order because your worksheet has one. Let's see. We shall do. Let me find one. Oh, I can probably just make one up. I'm going to make one up for us that kind of looks similar to your worksheet. Let's see, this one has, okay, I'll do this. 3y is greater than 5x minus 12. I think that's what it says. Yeah. Is this an answer? Is this a solution? So this one's just a tad bit different, right? It just doesn't have y equals. I just want, or like the y by itself. That's okay. You're still just plug and play. So this says 3 times, what's my y value? 1. Is that greater than 5 times negative 6 minus 12? Does everybody understand this? Then we just work both sides out. What is 3 times 1?
3.
That is 3. And what is, and I would just type this in my calculator, 5 times negative 6 minus 12. Well, that's negative 30 minus 12, negative 42. Is 3 bigger than negative 42? Yes, it is. So your answer would be yes. Okay, what I'll do is I'll start y'all off. There's more. We're going to learn something else in a little bit, but I'll give you your paper and you can do, okay, in case anybody's having trouble, I'll do one more of those and then I'm going to move on to graphing. And then y'all can finish up. I'll graph several. Okay, so one more of these. Let's look at y is greater than or equal to 3x minus 2. And it says, okay, is this a solution? So instead of writing y, what do I write? What's my y? 0. That number right there. All right, then I'll write down 3, and instead of writing times x, I'm going to write down that 0. And then I'll put minus 2. So then in my calculator, I would just type in, if I needed to, 3 times 0 minus 2. What is 0 minus 2? Negative 2. Is 0 bigger than, greater than, or equal to negative 2?
Yes.
It is. It's greater than, right? So your answer would be yes. Or, you know, or that would be your answer, like if you were trying to pick from several. So are we good with those first two problems? Yes. Okay. So then the next thing we're going to do is graph. So you have, I'll do several examples. Let's see. Y is greater than x minus 2. So there's 2 new things that you're going to learn with this. Does this say y is equal to x minus 2? It does not. Let's pretend it does. Let me show you how we used to graph, or how we do still graph, but it just depends on what it says. This one, okay, y is greater than x minus 2. Let's pretend for just a second, I'll graph in purple, that I'm graphing y equals x minus 2. So on this problem, I go down to negative 2, right? So I'm going to go down to negative 2. And then what's my slope? Up 1 and over 1, right? It's an understood 1. And then I just draw my line through there. Is everybody okay with that? That's how we graphed y equals x minus 2. Everybody's good with that one. Let me show you how we graph y is greater than x minus 2. We start out the exact same way, okay? So, y is greater than x minus 2. I go down to 2. My slope is 1, so I go up 1 and over 1. Now, here's the thing. Does it have an equal sign on there? No. If it has an equal sign, I would draw that line just like that. But it doesn't. It has just a greater than, not greater than and equal to. So I have to do a dotted line. So this green one is my answer. Do y'all understand that so far? Does everybody see the dotted line? Because we're saying, hey, it's along this line, but it's not equal to it. So I'm not going to include every point. But what else does it say? It says it's greater than. Where are we greater than that graph? All right, in my little box here, let's say I start right here. would I go up or down to be greater than that graph? I would go up. So I'm going to shade everything above it. So when you have a greater than or less than sign, you're shading, okay? You may have a solid line or a dotted line, and you're shading. Does everybody understand the difference between the purple graph with the equal sign and the green graph with the greater than sign? Okay, let me do another one. Not in green, because is that green kind of hard to see? Yeah, a little bit probably. Okay, can I erase this one? All right, let me do some more that just start with y equal, or with y by itself. So let's do, how about y is less than or equal to 1/2 x, yes, plus 1. All right, so let's look at this graph right here. Now, where's my starting point? I'm going to go up to what number? 1. Up to 1. And then I rise over run. How much do I rise? 1, run 2. Up 1 over 2. That's what I mean. Up 1 over 2. Is everybody good with that being my next point? Now, we decide, is it a dotted line or a solid line? Does it have an equal there? It does. It says less than or equal. So since there's an equal there, I draw just a normal line. Okay, I'm going to draw this solid line because it's got the equal sign. Then we have to decide the shading. So it's got the less than sign. So I want you to always think, am I going to go up or am I going to go down? If it's the less than sign, what would you do? Go down. Yeah. All right, you're going to go down. So if I pick a point on here and I'm going to go down, that's the side I would shade. Do y'all understand that? So that's what your picture will look like. You're just going to have some scribble. I'll do one more where it has the y by itself, and then I'll let you do 2 problems. Okay? And then we'll have a few more. I'm going to do this time, let's look at y is, let me see what both of those said. Negative 4x minus 1. Y is less than negative 4x minus 1. Okay, I'm going to erase this one. So on mine, I'm going to go to my starting point, which is negative 1. So I'm going to go right here. And then what's my slope? Down 4 over 1. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. Is this a dotted or a solid line? Dotted. Doesn't have the equal to. So I'm going to do a dotted line. This is, y'all, and they're really hard to draw perfectly because a solid line is hard enough, but a dotted line is worse. Okay, everybody good with my dotted line? Now we have to decide, are we going to go up from my graph or down? It has the less than sign, so where's it going to go? Less than is going to be down. So just pick a point and then go where? Down. Okay, that's where I'm going to shade. On this area. All in there. Under my line. Everybody good with that? Okay. Don't think left or right, think up or down on these. Okay. So y'all try numbers. There's 2 of them that you're ready to do.
6 and 3.
Yes, 6. Okay, 6 and 3. That's correct. 4 and 5, we're going to have to do something first. So try 6 and 3. Your graphing calculator can also do this. I'll show you real quick. In case you want to ever check your answer, I've got to charge this. I'm going to type in y is less than, or going to go y equals. I'm going to type in negative 4x minus 1, in case you're watching. And then I'm going to go over here to the left, and I'm going to change that to the less than. That's the greater than sign. That's the less than when it's down below. Okay, and then if I graph it, there it is. Okay, so you can graph on here as well. Do this. What's wrong with the next few equations or inequalities? The y is not by itself, but you can get the y by itself. You have to, or for me, I mean we're going to. Okay, I think that's the easiest way to do it. So let me find a couple where we have to get the y by itself. Takes me. Here we go. This one's not too bad. I'll erase that in just a second. Negative 2x plus y is greater than or equal to 3. So I'll do this one first. All right. Notice the y on this one, on this green one I wrote, is not by itself. What's over there with the y? This one's not too bad. There's only one thing over there with it. What is it?
It's 2x.
The negative 2x. So how do I move it to the other side? You just add 2x. You can do that easy. So we're going to add 2x to both sides. So y is greater than or equal to, and I'm just going to write it. I always like to put my x first. Just write it in that order. 2x and a plus 3. Is everybody okay with that? Notice all you did, so you don't get too confused, is you took this right here and you just moved it over here and you just made it the opposite. Okay, that's all we did. Is everybody good with this one? Now, I can graph it. This says I'm going to go up 3. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. And from there, what's my slope? 2. That means I go up 2 and over 1. 2 and over 1. Dotted or solid line? Solid. It has an equal sign. If it has an equal sign, it's a solid line. That's what we spent so much time learning way earlier. Okay? Now, since it has a greater than or less than sign, I shade. This one has a greater than. So where are we greater than that graph? Just pick a point. Do I go up or down to be greater than that? Up. So that means I'm going to shade. See where I'm shading? On this side. And that's my answer on this one. How was that one? Are we getting it? Let me do another one where I have to rearrange my equation, because it may look a little different. Okay, let's see. Let me do one, yeah, definitely like these.
What if 6 has like a value to it? Like, I mean, what if 4 is, it says 4x plus 6y?
That's what I'm about to. Let's do, these are a little more difficult. I'm gonna do, I'm trying to think. I think I can still do that one. We'll make it into a decimal. I'm just looking for one. Give me a minute. Here's one. Okay, if I have, I just lost it. There it is. Negative 9x plus 3y is greater than or equal to 6. There we go. All right. Took me a minute to find one, kind of like your paper. So we have to move two things now that are over there with the y. The first thing I'm going to move is the negative 9x. Does everybody see that? What's the second thing I would move? What else is over there with the y? When I move this, then I still have a 3. So let's move the 9x. It's a negative 9x, so what do I do?
Add it.
Yep, I'm going to add 9x to both sides.
And if it was a positive, would you subtract?
Yeah. And I like to write my x first, so I'm going to put 9x plus 6. Now, this one's nice. They all divide out. Your paper is not nice. So, anyway, let's divide. What do we divide by? What is over there with my y? My 3. I'm going to divide everything by 3. So, I've got y is greater than or equal to 3x plus 2. Are we good with that one? And then if I'm going to make a stamp, I think. Oh, we make it.
How would you divide 6 by -4?
Just get a decimal. I'll do one in a second where we have to divide by a number like that. Oh, that graph is terrible. I'll try to do this graph. Okay, here's my lines where they meet. So for this one, I would go up 2, 1, 2. From there, my slope, up 3 over 1. Dotted or solid line.
So if you subtract
Solid.
it, it'd be negative.
If you subtract, yep, it's negative in front of the x. And then it's greater than, so I would shade above it. That's what that one would look like. All right, let me do another one where we're just solving. Mm-hmm. What if I can just make one up. Let me just make one up. Like
6.
number 4. Let me do 3x plus 4y. Let's do this one. 3x plus 4y is less than or equal to 10. This one's not going to work perfect, but that's okay. All right? Now, what am I going to do to solve for y? What do I do first? Subtract 3x. Riley, you paying attention? Okay. So if I subtract 3x, I get 4y is less than or equal to, that's a negative 3x and a positive 10. Are you good with that? Yeah? Okay, now what am I going to do? I'm going to divide everything by 4. So this part's yuck, but that's okay. We can leave your slope as a fraction. That's great. This number, I definitely would just make that a decimal. All right, this is going to be y is less than or equal to negative 3/4 x. And what in the world is 10 divided by 4? 2.5. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah. So if I get my graph, let me get a little graph stamp, and I'll show you how to graph it. You can graph a decimal. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but you can graph it. Sorry. Okay, that was much better. Okay. My other one looked terrible. So I'm going to go up to 2.5 because that number is 2.5. So up 1, 2, and about halfway. Just try my best on graphing it. Does everybody understand that 2.5? Yeah? From there, I'm in the middle, but that's okay. I can stay in the middle. Where am I going to go? Down 3 and over 4. This is kind of miserable, stay in the middle, but we can do it. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2, 3, 4. See how I just stayed in the middle? Okay, I stayed at half mark. So dotted or solid line, it's equal to, so it's a solid line. And do I shade above or below? Below, because it's got the less than sign. That means we're going to go less than that line. We're going to go down below it. There we go. So I want you to try number 4. Okay, it has a yucky decimal and then a fraction as well, I think. If I need to help you on this one, look, I'll start you off. 4x plus 6y greater than or equal to 10. What do you do first on this one?
4x.
4x. So we subtract our 4x. So I get 6y is greater than or equal to negative 4x plus 10. Then what do you do? Divide everything by 6. This is the yucky part. Okay? Y is greater than or equal to negative 4 over 6. You can reduce that if you want. If I type that in my calculator, which is charging, But if I type in negative 4 over 6, guess what it's going to tell me it is? Negative 2/3 x. And then I think I want this number as a decimal because 10 over 6, that's kind of, what is 10 over 6? 5/3? What does that divide to?
10 divided by 6.
Yeah, what's 10 divided by 6? Point something, 0.33, 1.6 repeated.
Yeah, 1.6 repeated.
Okay, so that one's kind of yuck to graph. Just try your best. Just try to guess where in the world is 1.6. Go up to 1.6 repeated-ish. And then go down 2 and over 3.
How would you do this one?
On this one, it's shading above. So our last one, it's different. Let me move that over. Our last one looks something like, I'm going to make one up. That one divides, that one doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to do 2x minus 3y is less than a negative. Sorry, I'm just taking a second to see. I'll go with 15. I hope that's not too big of a number. Okay, what do I do to solve this one, y'all? What am I going to move first? The 2x. So I'm going to subtract it over. You'll see it's like a pattern. Same thing every time. So a negative 3y, don't forget that's negative there, less than negative 2x minus 15. Everybody good with that one so far? Now we are going to divide by what? Divide by negative 3. Everything has to be divided by a negative 3. What happens when you divide by a negative? This goes way back to like chapter 3, inequalities. Whenever you divide by a negative and you have an inequality sign, what do you have to do with it? You have to flip the inequality sign, okay? That's something that you just have to know and memorize. Like, you have to know it. So instead of the less than sign, I'm going to flip my sign. So over here I've got a y. What's a negative 2 over negative 3? That becomes a positive 2/3 x. I like for my slope to stay a fraction. And what's negative 15 divided by negative 3? It's a positive 5. So how do I graph this one? I'm going to go up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From there, I go up 2 and over 3. And then is this a dotted or a solid line?
How much do I go?
On mine is up 2 over 3, but this is not yours. It's not the same as yours. Your problem is a little bit different on your paper. Like you have different numbers. I'm just doing one like it. So is this a dotted or a solid line? It's a dotted because it's not equal to. And then it's greater than, so I'm going to shade above it. Okay, and that just about covers everything. I'm not doing your number 5. You have to do your number 5. It's like your number 5. I want you to do yours. I'm going to stop this and then I'll come right back to this paper.